Hey guys. Tonight, we're taking a slow, quiet walk into a world that no human was ever meant to survive. A place where the air was thicker, the days were hotter, and life itself was an endless game of hide or be eaten. Close your eyes, get comfortable, and let's go back 150 million years to the Jurassic period. A time when Earth belonged not to us, but to giants with teeth as long as your forearm and claws sharp enough to tear through bone. You wake up on a sticky, humid morning. The sky isn't blue. It's a dusty greenish gray, thick with volcanic ash floating in the atmosphere from a distant eruption. There's no birdsong. Birds haven't really evolved yet. Instead, the air vibrates with the low rumble of distant thunder and the high-pitched screeches of flying reptiles, pterosaurs, circling hundreds of feet above. They're not dinosaurs technically, but they rule the skies with their leathery wings, some with wingspans over 30 feet wide. That's the size of a small plane. The ground beneath your feet isn't solid. It's soft, mossy, and steaming from geothermal heat. Ferns grow taller than your head. Strange conifers reach for the sky, dripping with resin. There's no grass. It hasn't evolved yet either. You're walking barefoot over roots, wet leaves, and the occasional lizard-like creature that slithers out of your way. Your legs are covered in mosquito bites, and these aren't ordinary mosquitoes. Some are the size of modern sparrows, with long, needle-like mouths that pierce deep into your skin. You smell something putrid, a heavy, rotting stench. You duck behind a tree, your breath shallow. Through the foliage, you spot it. A predator. Allosaurus fragilis. Nearly 30 feet long. 2 tons of muscle, bone, and primal hunger. It moves like a shadow, scanning the undergrowth. Not for you, though. It's chasing something else. A loud crashing sound. Trees crack. From the other side of the forest, a Camarasaurus stomps into view. It's huge, over 50 feet long. A herbivore, but you wouldn't dare get close. One swing of its tail could shatter every bone in your body. It munches on cycads and ferns with teeth shaped like spoons. You watch it chew slowly, oblivious to the predator creeping behind. You think you're safe, hidden, but you're not. Your scent is everywhere. Your sweat, your breath, your fear. You don't blend in. You don't belong here. And you don't have claws, fangs, armor, or speed. You're just meat. The predator lunges. Not at the big one. Too risky. Instead, it pounces on a smaller dinosaur nearby. A Brachiosaurus, maybe. You can hear its screams as it's torn apart, bone cracking like twigs. And you haven't even had breakfast yet. What would you eat anyway? No fruits. No wheat. No dairy. Just raw, fibrous plants, if you can digest them. Maybe some bugs. Maybe you try to catch a lizard. But your tools are gone. Your clothes are gone. You're not a survivor. You're a slow, soft biped in a world where everything is either armored, venomous, or faster than you. And then, it starts to rain. Not gently, but in great, steaming sheets. Warm tropical downpour. Within minutes, the forest floor becomes a river. Your feet sink. You slip. Something slithers past your leg, long, scaled, fast. You're cold now, wet and exhausted. You've only been here a few hours, and already everything in this world wants to eat you, poison you, crush you, or ignore you as it tramples past. And it's still only morning. You try to move, but your legs feel heavier with every step. The mud pulls at your ankles like quicksand, and every vine you grab to steady yourself feels like it could be hiding something venomous underneath. You're soaked, shivering, and the tropical heat has only grown stronger since the rain began. The storm doesn't bring relief, it brings noise. Thunder booms so loudly that the forest floor shakes, and lightning splits the sky in a jagged flash. For a moment, You see it clearly, a vast expanse of untamed jungle, unbroken by roads or trails, stretching for miles in every direction. No help, no shelter, just survival. But you're not alone. A rustling sound, fast, sharp, from behind. You turn. Nothing. Then movement again. Something is following you. Not large. Small. Coordinated. You spot them. Coelophysis. Small, pack-hunting dinosaurs. About the size of a turkey, with narrow jaws filled with needle-like teeth. They're not looking for a fight. They're testing you. Watching. Waiting. One wrong step, one moment of weakness, and they'll swarm. You find higher ground, a mossy ridge above the soaked valley floor. You scramble up, grabbing tree roots and sharp rocks, until you finally reach the top. From here, the view should be magnificent, but you can't stop shaking. Below you, a herd of Stegosaurus moves slowly through the ferns. Huge, plated backs rising like ships above the greenery. Their tails swing with spiked precision. Despite their awkward look, they're armored tanks of muscle. Even predators like Allosaurus hesitate before attacking one. But you're not a threat. You're not anything to them. Just a strange creature panting on a hillside. The rain fades to mist, and steam rises from the ground like breath. You start to walk again, hoping for food, shelter, anything. But there's no clean water, no fire, no comfort. You come across a fallen tree, rotten and crawling with life. Dozens of giant centipedes and beetles scatter. One of them, a massive, jet-black creature with pincers, pauses, sensing your presence. It doesn't fear you. It dares you. And you realize something simple and terrifying. You're not even top of the food chain among the bugs here. Your stomach growls, but you know better than to eat anything colorful. Bright colors often mean poison. You remember that, at least. So you chew a piece of bark, spit it out, and settle for a handful of small berries, probably toxic. But you're hungry. Really hungry. Time moves strangely. Without clocks, everything stretches. Minutes feel like hours. The sun is still high, but your body is failing. No protein. No salt. You're losing hydration. Fast. And dehydration hits harder in this climate. You kneel near a puddle and consider drinking. You hesitate. Something moves beneath the surface. You back away. A loud crash. Closer this time. Trees falling. Something big is coming. The ground trembles again. Louder. Heavier. You don't breathe. You don't move. Through the trees you see it. A shadow. Then scales. Then a head the size of a small car. You're face to face with something that should not exist. And it hasn't even seen you. YET.IT steps into full view. 40 feet of muscle, teeth, and hunger. Torvosaurus. Not as famous as the T-Rex, but just as deadly in its time. 12 feet tall at the hip, this predator is built like a nightmare. Long jaws, serrated teeth, claws that curl like hooks. Its nostrils flare as it sniffs the damp air. You freeze, heart pounding so loud it feels like it echoes off the trees. If you move now, you'll draw its attention. If you stay still, it might still find you. You duck slowly, silently, into the underbrush, trying to vanish into a world you don't belong to. Your breathing is shallow. You press your body against the trunk of a giant tree, covered in bark so wet it peels under your touch. The Torvosaurus sniffs again, head swaying, sensing something unfamiliar. The scent of sweat, fear, and human skin doesn't belong in this forest. And predators notice what doesn't belong. A minute passes. Then two. Finally, it turns away, crashing through ferns and vanishing into the jungle like a walking earthquake. You don't move for another 10. You can't. Eventually, your legs stop trembling, but the exhaustion creeps in. You're dehydrated, starving, your skin torn by thorny vines, and you've only been here for a fraction of a day. You begin walking again, slower this time. The sun hangs heavy above, casting a greenish light through the canopy. The humidity is so thick, every breath feels like you're inhaling soup. You dream of shade, clean water, something, anything, to remind you of home. Instead, you find bones. A clearing. Dozens of them. Cracked, split, and scattered. Some stripped clean. Others still red with meat. A nesting site, maybe. Or a kill zone. The stench is unbearable, like old blood and sour meat. Flies the size of quarters swarm around your face. You swat them away and step carefully through the carnage. A massive skull lies half buried in the mud. Probably a diplodocus, a creature longer than a bus. It's been dead for days. Whatever killed it might still be nearby. Suddenly, the trees ahead part as a creature pushes through them. But it's not a dinosaur. It's a crocodilian, Sarcosuchus. Think of a crocodile, now triple its size. Over 30 feet long, armored with thick scales, and jaws powerful enough to crush a car. It slithers slowly toward a nearby waterhole, ignoring you. Lucky. You stay frozen until it disappears below the surface with barely a ripple. You kneel beside the same water and finally drink. It's warm, muddy, and probably teeming with bacteria that your body isn't built to handle. But it's water. You drink again. And again. Then you hear a buzzing, low droning, rising in pitch. You look up. A swarm of ancient insects, maybe Meganeura, with wingspans over 2 feet wide, fills the sky. Dragonfly-like, but prehistoric and aggressive. They swarm toward the carcass behind you, and you duck just in time to avoid one flying directly at your face. You're not just surviving now. You're losing. Your skin itches from bites, your body aches from dehydration, and your mind drifts into a fog. The sun begins to set, casting long shadows across the forest. But night doesn't mean safety. It means the real hunters are waking up. As the sun dips below the horizon, everything changes. The jungle, already intimidating, becomes something darker, stranger. Shadows stretch like claws between the trees. Sound shift. The chirping of daytime creatures fades into silence, replaced by a chorus of clicks, growls, and deep, guttural calls from the darkness beyond the ferns. Night in the Jurassic is not peaceful. There are no stars. Too much volcanic haze in the sky. The moon is a faint glow behind a curtain of mist. You can barely see your own hands, but your ears work just fine. And what they hear is panic-inducing. Soft thuds in the underbrush. A screech high above. Some kind of flying reptile calling out into the night. Then, a low-pitched huffing sound. Close. Heavy. Rhythmic. Footsteps. You crouch low behind a gnarled, ancient cycad, trying to steady your breathing. But it's impossible. Every sound is amplified in this darkness. Every crack of a twig feels like a gunshot. And then you hear it again. Not one set of footsteps, two. Maybe more. They're not big, but they're fast. Then you see them, just silhouettes against the dark. Two-legged, sleek, no taller than your hip, but moving with alarming speed. Tridentids. Bird-like predators with large, forward-facing eyes. Smart, coordinated, curious. You don't know if they see you, but they stop. One sniffs the air. The other takes a cautious step closer. You grab a stone from the forest floor, hurl it blindly into the trees to your right. The sharp crack of the impact startles them, and they bolt. You wait, heart pounding. Silence again, but the adrenaline costs you. You're dizzy. You sit against the tree, trying to catch your breath. Your skin is cold. Your clothes, still damp from the earlier storm, cling to you. And the insects, they never stop. You slap your arms, your neck. One bite is already swelling. Time moves in strange ways now. You drift between alertness and something like sleep, though you know better than to actually close your eyes. But you can't help it. Your body is done fighting. It's been maybe 14 hours. Maybe less. You're starving. Weak. Alone. Then you feel it. The ground shifts again. Not like before. Not footsteps. Something bigger. A low rumble, almost like a vibration, rippling through the dirt and the air. You press your hand to the ground and feel it. Constant, steady, deep. The kind of sound that doesn't just come from movement. It comes from weight. You scramble to your feet, stumbling toward a nearby ridge. Climbing is harder now. Your muscles protest every step. But you reach the top. And what you see doesn't even seem real. A Brachiosaurus herd. Dozens of them. Towering over the trees. Necks rising above the canopy like cranes. Their massive feet crush the earth with every step, creating tremors that travel for miles. Their skin shines dully in the moonlight, scarred with ancient wounds and coated in dried mud. They move slowly, but with a confidence that only something with no natural predators can afford. You exhale, the all momentarily pushing aside the fear. They don't even notice you. Why would they? You're no more threatening than a squirrel to them. But predators notice herds. And where there are Brachiosaurs, there are hunters watching from the shadows, waiting for one to stray, for a calf to fall behind, for the old or injured to slow down. And you're none of those things. You're something even easier. You're alone, and completely exposed. You keep your distance from the Brachiosaurus herd, moving along the edge of the ridge. Their groans echo through the forest, deep and resonant, like the creaking of an ancient ship in a storm. Below, smaller creatures scatter at their feet, ancient mammals no larger than rats, quick-footed and low to the ground, always searching for scraps. You envy them. They belong here. You do not. Your body is failing. Your mouth is dry again. The earlier water may have helped, but it's not enough. You haven't eaten real food in almost a full day. Your legs shake with each step. But stopping isn't an option. Not in this world. A few hundred feet ahead, you spot something odd. A clearing with disturbed soil, claw marks in the mud, broken branches, and dragged lines through the leaves. Something hunted here recently. You crouch and examine the ground. Massive three-toed footprints. Fresh. Sharp impressions. Claws at the tips. These aren't from herbivores. You know what this means. A Megalosaurus passed through. One of the top predators of the Jurassic. Possibly 30 feet long. Strong, fast, and absolutely ruthless. Its name literally means great lizard, and it lives up to it. This one may be near. Or worse, it may be watching already. The jungle around you grows silent again. That's never good. Even insects quiet down, sensing a change. You move faster, breaking into a half-run down the slope, slipping on moss and wet stone. Your feet bleed, your hands torn from thorns and sharp bark. You're too exhausted to care. You just need to move. And then you find it. Shelter. A shallow cave, hidden behind layers of drooping ferns and gnarled roots. It's not deep, maybe 10 feet, but it's dry. Cool. For a moment, it feels like salvation. You duck inside, curl against the wall, and exhale for what feels like the first time in hours. But safety in the Jurassic is always temporary. Inside the cave, the walls are damp and glistening. The air smells strange. Earthy, but sour. You run your hand along the stone and feel a strange texture. Then you see it, the glint of something oval-shaped, half buried in the dirt. An egg. A massive one. Your stomach sinks. This isn't an empty cave. It's a nest. And you're inside it. You back away slowly, eyes scanning for the mother. Nothing. Silence. Maybe she's gone. Maybe the nest is abandoned. But you know better than to assume. Any second, something the size of a bus could lunge from the jungle, protective and furious. You slip out of the cave as quietly as you can, pushing the ferns aside and re-entering the thick, hot darkness. Back in the open air, everything feels more dangerous now. The wind picks up, a rare relief, carrying with it a new scent. Smoke, faint but real. Volcanic activity. Somewhere nearby, the earth is shifting. Lava might not be far beneath your feet. This planet is alive in a way modern Earth isn't. Still forming. Still violent. And then it hits you. You're not just fighting dinosaurs. You're fighting the planet itself. Unstable ground. Poisonous plants. Giant insects. Carnivores with brains wired to kill. Diseases you can't name. Weather patterns you can't predict. You're a time traveler dropped into a world that doesn't know you. Doesn't care about you. And the night isn't even over. The wind continues to rise, whispering through the leaves in strange, hollow tones. The forest creaks as tall, ancient trees sway against one another, their thick trunks groaning like old bones. Every gust carries a new scent, damp vegetation, sulfur from distant volcanic vents, and something else. The musk of reptiles, warm and earthy. You're beginning to understand that in this world, everything smells like something alive. Or something waiting. You follow a dry riverbed, its rocky bottom dotted with smooth stones, and the footprints of creatures that crossed it earlier. Small theropods maybe, or some sort of feathered protobird. Yes, even in the Jurassic, feathers are beginning to appear. Not quite like modern birds, but hints of what's to come. Evolution moves quietly, but it's already sculpting the future. One of the stones you step over breaks apart under your foot. Inside, a fossilized shell. Maybe a long-dead ammonite, or some ancient freshwater creature. The past buried inside the deeper past. It reminds you just how ancient this time is. How deep the layers of life go here. Your body aches with every movement now. Your knees are scraped raw. Your fingers swollen. You try not to think about how long it's been since you slept, but your mind is foggy and slow. Still, something pushes you onward. Maybe it's instinct, or just the awareness that staying in one place means being noticed. The path curves into a low canyon, its walls lined with jagged rocks and creeping moss. At the bottom, a shallow pool of water glimmers faintly. You approach slowly, cautiously. It's quiet. Too quiet. You kneel and cup the water in your hands. It tastes metallic, like iron and minerals. Not ideal, but drinkable. As the cool liquid touches your throat, your senses sharpen just for a moment. Then the sky cracks open again with thunder. No rain this time, just the booming echo of the storm still circling above the distant hills. You count the seconds between flash and sound. The storm's getting closer. Fast. From the top of the canyon wall, a silhouette appears. 4 legs, short tail, stocky build. You freeze. But it's not a predator. It's a Stegosaurus, a small, armored herbivore, maybe 4 feet long. It blinks at you with wide, dark eyes, then continues walking. It doesn't see you as a threat, or anything at all, and you're fine with that. But its appearance reminds you of something important. Small doesn't mean safe. In this era, even harmless-looking creatures have defenses you can't match. Spines, shells, speed. You, with no weapons, no shelter, no tribe, have nothing. And as night stretches on, the forest begins to change again. Bioluminescent fungi glow faintly at the base of trees. Fireflies, larger than modern ones, pulse in slow, steady flashes. It's beautiful in a haunting way. A reminder that this world isn't evil, just ancient, untouched by your species. Suddenly, a low, humming vibration runs through the ground beneath you. Not movement. Sound. A call. Deep, resonant, coming from miles away. The kind of call that moves through earth and bone alike. Likely a sauropod, maybe a diplodocus, announcing itself across the darkened valley. You lie down near a cluster of ferns, curling into yourself, too tired to run, too aware to sleep. Your mind drifts between thoughts of home, of silence, of warmth, and the rustling leaves that surround you now. Because here, even the silence can be alive, and you still have hours to go before morning. Somewhere in the trees above, something shifts, gently, quietly. Not a predator, just life. A branch creaks under the weight of a small reptile, its eyes glinting in the dark. Perhaps an early ancestor of birds. Feathers not for flight yet, but for warmth, camouflage, and communication. It tilts its head at you, curious, then leaps away into the canopy, vanishing like a whisper. You try to keep your eyes open, but they're heavy. Your body curls tighter beneath the ferns. You've lost track of time. Your thoughts no longer form sentences, just feelings. Hunger, cold, the faint ache behind your eyes, the low pulse of dread humming in your chest. And then, warmth, faint at first. A golden glow filters through the trees. Dawn. You made it through the night. But the Jurassic doesn't offer congratulations. There's no applause. Just a new set of challenges. The air is already thick with heat, and the light triggers movement. Insects emerge. Lizards stretch. Distant calls echo through the forest, deep, hollow vocalizations that travel for miles. Territory warnings, mating calls, or signals of something approaching. You stand, legs stiff and sore, every muscle protesting. Your clothes are streaked with mud and torn by plants and claws. You can hardly feel your fingertips, swollen from bites, cuts, and constant strain. But standing means being seen, and you are seen. Not by a predator this time, but by a Brachiosaurus, a small, beaked herbivore with alert eyes and a nervous gait. It watches you from a distance, sniffing the air. You freeze. After a tense moment, it hops back into the brush, disappearing as quickly as it came. A near encounter. A reminder that everything in this world is watching for danger, even the harmless ones. You move toward a ridge that seems promising. Elevation means visibility, maybe even a view of a river or a clearing. The climb is brutal. Loose rocks, slippery moss. Your feet have no grip. You fall twice. But you reach the top. And then you see it. Not safety. Fire. In the distance, beyond a ridge of black cliffs, smoke pours into the sky. Red flickers along the horizon. A volcanic vent, maybe. Or worse, a full eruption building beneath the surface. This land is still forming, remember? Still young. Still alive with tectonic movement. Entire regions here can vanish under lava in a single day. You turn away, heart pounding again, and look for a new path. But the forest is shifting. A herd is on the move. Iguanodons. At least a dozen. Long-thumbed, heavy-bodied plant eaters with massive jaws and strong legs. They're faster than they look. They walk upright or on all fours, depending on speed. And they're nervous. Not because of you. Because something else is near. Suddenly, the herd bolts. Not a slow retreat. A full stampede. Trees crash. Birds scatter. The ground trembles again. You throw yourself to the dirt as dozens of feet thunder past, missing you by inches. Dust fills the air. You cover your face, coughing, waiting for the last of them to pass. And in the silence that follows, nothing moves. No more footsteps. No birdsong. Only the feeling that something much larger is now watching you. Something waiting for you to run. Something that never runs, because it doesn't need to. You don't move. The dust hangs in the air like a veil, glowing faintly in the morning light. Leaves still drift down from the trees, shaken loose by the stampede. You stay low, pressed to the forest floor, eyes scanning the space where the iguanodons vanished. Whatever scared them might still be here. Minutes pass. Then a sound. Low. Measured. The heavy crackle of foliage under enormous feet. A branch snaps. Then another. And finally, through the trees, a shape. Not fast. Not loud. But impossibly large. It's not a Tyrannosaurus. It's too early in the timeline for that. But its cousin? Ceratosaurus. Nearly 20 feet long, with a distinctive horn on its snout and teeth built for tearing. Its hide is patterned, like a shadow, blending into the underbrush as it walks. Muscles ripple under skin. It moves with the confidence of something that has never needed to fear anything. And it's coming closer. You stay still, barely breathing. You've learned something over the past day. In this world, movement means attention. And attention can mean the end. The Ceratosaurus pauses near a fallen tree, lowering its head to sniff the soil. Its nostrils flare, and it lets out a short, throaty grunt. It's looking for signs. Track scents. Weakness. You realize it isn't here for you. Not specifically. It's following the herd. But that doesn't make you safe. Its gaze sweeps the clearing. You don't dare blink. Finally, it turns and vanishes into the brush, each step as quiet as the one before. The trees swallow it whole, and the forest slowly exhales. You stay down for another full minute before moving. Every bone aches. But you force yourself to your feet and start walking in the opposite direction, fast but careful. Each step is chosen. Each sound is measured. You know now what even the smallest noise can bring. You follow a narrow path where animal tracks dip into soft mud. A mix of three-toed prints, claw marks, and tail drags. The vegetation thins a little here, and the trees are shorter, sunlight finally filtering through the canopy. It's warmer now. The kind of heat that presses on your lungs. You spot a series of holes in the ground ahead, wide, shallow, and patterned like a honeycomb. At first, you think they might be from burrowing animals, but then you realize nests, likely from a colony of hypsilophodons, small, social plant eaters. You don't see them now, but they're likely nearby, hidden, watching. You don't linger. Soon, you hear something you haven't heard in hours. Flowing water. The trees part slightly to reveal a wide, rocky riverbank. The water is fast moving, cloudy with sediment, but moving. You run the last few feet and kneel at the edge, splashing it onto your face, drinking deep. Cold, clean enough. You breathe, for a moment, like it's over. But rivers aren't just for drinking. They're for hunting. Movement in the water. A long, dark shape just below the surface. It glides past, slow and silent. You pull back. Not a crocodile. Something stranger. Metriorhynchus, maybe. A marine reptile that adapted to freshwater hunting. Sleek. Fast. Teeth like needles. You step away from the edge. The sun climbs higher, casting sharper shadows now. You know you can't stop here. Not near the water. Not where predators swim and bugs gather. But you also know something else. You're running out of options. And the day's barely begun. You leave the river behind, following a narrow, winding trail that cuts along the edge of the water. The jungle here feels different, thicker somehow, but also older. The trees rise higher, their twisted roots gripping the earth like claws. Moss drapes from every branch. The light struggles to reach the ground, broken into a shifting patchwork of green and gold. Each step feels heavier than the last, not from fatigue alone, but from the weight of being out of place, out of time. A strange call rings out from deep in the forest, a long, rising tone, almost melodic, but followed by the unmistakable thump of something massive brushing against the trees. You crouch, instinct taking over, but whatever made that sound is far away. For now. You keep moving. The trail begins to slope upward, not steeply, but enough to burn your legs and tighten your chest. With every step, you notice new signs, scratch marks on bark, broken branches high above, long gouges in the mud. Something large passed through here recently, and not gently. Up ahead, the canopy opens just slightly, revealing a high bluff overlooking a shallow valley. You push through a curtain of ferns and step into the open, and for a moment, despite the danger, you simply stare. A wide expanse of land stretches out below, where a marshy field lies nestled between the forest and a distant ridge. In the haze of midday sun, dozens of dinosaurs move across it, grazing, drinking, resting. It's a prehistoric gathering place, hidden away by elevation and terrain. Apatosaurus move like ancient ships through the mist, their long necks swaying above the trees. Ankylosaurs shuffle close to the edges, heavy, tank-like, their backs covered in natural armor. You even spot a pair of Ornitholestes, quick-footed and alert, darting between tree shadows near the far side of the clearing. You crouch low among the brush, letting your eyes adjust to the distance. The entire valley moves like a living machine, massive creatures shifting, grazing, calling to one another in deep, low rumbles. You're not part of it. You're not even acknowledged. You're just a pair of eyes watching something that wasn't meant to be witnessed. A strange emotion settles in. Not fear this time, not entirely. Something closer to awe. You've seen fragments of this in museums, textbooks, documentaries. But nothing prepares you for the scale. These animals don't belong in a story. They are the story. You're just a misplaced visitor, quietly passing through a chapter not written for your kind. And yet, even here, in this moment of beauty, the danger doesn't disappear. You see it, on the far side of the marsh. A sudden disruption. A ripple in the calm. Herds shift. Tails rise. Heads turn. And then, from the tree line, a figure emerges. Low, lean, built for speed and silence, a predator. Possibly a frominator, or a close relative. It stalks slowly, not charging, not lunging. It knows how this works. The herd will panic. One will fall behind. That's all it needs. And you're too close again. You start to back away, but a dry branch snaps beneath your heel. It's a tiny sound, but in this silence, it might as well be a shout. Heads turn. Not just the predators. Others, too. You duck, heart racing, body tense. You feel every nerve scream for stillness. The moment passes. The creature turns its focus back to the marsh. It wasn't here for you. Not yet. The predator fades back into the shadows, its sleek form disappearing into the dense thicket like a ghost vanishing at dawn. You breathe out slowly, realizing you barely escaped notice. The marsh remains alive with motion, Apatosaurus lowering their massive heads to drink, the occasional splash from a tail, or the ripple caused by a grazing herbivore. The ground beneath you is damp, soft from the morning dew and recent rains, but firm enough to support your careful steps as you begin to move away from the clearing's edge. Your legs ache with every movement, muscles stiff from the long hours of tension and exhaustion. Still, you push forward, driven by a primal need to survive in this ancient, unforgiving landscape. The sunlight filters through the canopy in fragmented rays, illuminating floating spores and tiny motes of dust that dance in the warm air like distant stars. In the distance, you hear the call of a diplodocus, a low, resonant sound that vibrates through the forest floor. Its neck stretches skyward as it reaches for the treetops, stripping leaves with spoon-shaped teeth that evolved to handle tough, fibrous plants. Watching these giants move with such grace and size fills you with a mix of wonder and humility. They dominate this world, and you are but a fleeting shadow on its surface. Suddenly, a rustle in the nearby bushes draws your attention. You freeze, muscles tensing instinctively, eyes scanning the dense greenery for movement. A small herd of Brachiosaurus emerges, quick, alert, and cautious herbivores that dart through the underbrush like living arrows. Their slender bodies and long tails balance them as they navigate the forest floor, constantly alert to danger. You watch them pass, marveling at their agility and speed. In a place where survival depends on sharp senses and quick reflexes, these small dinosaurs have perfected the art of evasion. Their world is one of constant motion and vigilance, a dance with death that has lasted millions of years. Your stomach growls quietly, reminding you of your own limitations. Unlike these creatures, you have no specialized adaptations, no scales for protection, no claws or teeth for defense, no speed to outrun danger, just human vulnerability. With renewed urgency, you scan the horizon for shelter or a safe place to rest. The terrain slopes upward toward a rocky outcrop where the trees thin, revealing patches of blue sky and sunlight. It offers a vantage point, a place to survey the surroundings and perhaps regain some strength. You begin to climb, careful to avoid loose stones and slippery moss. The higher you go, the cooler the air becomes, and a gentle breeze offers brief relief from the oppressive humidity below. Reaching the summit, you pause to catch your breath and take in the vast landscape stretched out before you. From this vantage point, the sprawling forest seems endless, a sea of green dotted with the movements of colossal beasts and smaller creatures alike. Far in the distance, you notice a plume of smoke rising into the sky, a reminder that this world is as dynamic and dangerous beneath the surface as it is above. You settle against a rock, muscles trembling from fatigue. Though you survived another stretch of time in this ancient land, the reality remains clear. Every moment is a battle, every breath a challenge, and the odds are stacked against you. The day continues, and so does the test. You lean against the cool stone, letting your eyes drift over the endless forest below. The weight of the ancient world presses on your mind, heavy and relentless. Every leaf, every shadow, every distant cry feels charged with the memory of millions of years. A time when survival demanded more than strength. It demanded constant vigilance, quick instincts, and a body built for this wild, primeval landscape. The breeze shifts, carrying a new scent. Earth, damp leaves, and something sharp and metallic. A faint vibration stirs beneath your fingers where they rest on the rock. The planet hums quietly, a living presence beneath your touch. This world is still young, still shaping itself with fires beneath its crust and storms that rage with a fury unknown to the future. Suddenly, movement catches your eye. Below, near the edge of a distant clearing, a group of Ceratosaurus emerges from the shadows. Their sleek bodies glide through the undergrowth, hunting silently with precision born of evolution's endless refinement. Their horns catch the light, and their eyes scan every inch of the forest, searching, always searching. You feel exposed, like a fragile leaf caught in a storm of giants. The sun climbs higher, and the heat intensifies. Sweat trickles down your brow, mixing with dirt and exhaustion. Your throat feels parched, but there's no water nearby that's safe or accessible. You remind yourself of the countless dangers hidden beneath the forest floor: poisonous plants, venomous insects, and lurking predators. all waiting for a moment's weakness. Your thoughts drift to the plants around you. The Jurassic landscape is dominated by cycads, ginkgos, and towering conifers. No flowers yet. No fruits as sweet as those you know. Instead, leaves that taste bitter, tough bark, and seeds hidden in cones. The herbivores here have adapted over millions of years to thrive on this ancient diet, but for you, it offers little nourishment. In the distance, the soft roar of a waterfall echoes through the valley. It calls to you, promising fresh water and maybe a chance to rest. But it also means descending from your vantage point, moving closer to the heart of the jungle, where danger lurks in every shadow. You stand slowly, muscles protesting the movement. Every step down the rocky slope is deliberate, controlled, careful. The forest seems to close in around you as you descend, the canopy thickening once again. The light dims, and the air grows heavy with moisture and the scent of earth. Then, a sudden sound breaks the silence. A series of clicks and whistles, faint but distinct. You stop, straining to listen. Somewhere nearby, a group of Dilophosaurus communicates, their calls rising and falling like a strange, prehistoric song. They move in packs, intelligent and opportunistic, always alert for prey or threats. Your heart pounds in response, and you realize just how alone you are in this world. Every noise could mean danger, every shadow could hide a threat. And yet, somehow, you keep moving forward. Because in this time, there is no choice. Only survival. The forest thickens as you move deeper into the jungle's heart, branches and vines weaving a dense tapestry overhead. Light struggles to pierce through, casting everything in shades of green and shadow. The air hums with life, the rustle of leaves, the distant calls of dinosaurs, and the steady drone of insects in the humid atmosphere. Every sound blends into a symphony of survival, ancient and relentless. Your steps grow slower. The weight of exhaustion presses down, but you force yourself forward, knowing that standing still means danger of its own. Predators lurk everywhere, not just the giant carnivores you've glimpsed, but smaller, quicker hunters, scavengers and opportunists shaped by millions of years of evolution. A flash of movement catches your eye. A small dinosaur, perhaps a Compsognathus, darts between the ferns. It's no bigger than a modern chicken, but moves with an energy that's almost frantic, constantly on alert. These tiny creatures survive by being fast and elusive, a sharp contrast to the lumbering giants you've seen. You pause to catch your breath near a cluster of cycads, their thick, waxy leaves gleaming with moisture. The plants are unlike anything you know, ancient survivors from a time before flowering trees, their tough exteriors designed to withstand the teeth of hungry herbivores. You touch a leaf, feeling its resilience beneath your fingers. Suddenly, a distant rumble shakes the ground beneath you. You freeze, scanning the canopy. The trees sway as something massive moves through the forest nearby. The heavy footsteps of a Giganotosaurus? No! This is something even larger, a true giant of its time. A Supersaurus passes through the clearing ahead, its enormous frame casting a shadow that seems to swallow the light. Its long neck stretches skyward, and each step causes the earth to tremble faintly. You watch in silent awe, aware that this creature, unlike the predators, moves with a calm certainty, a titan of this ancient world. The ground beneath you softens as you approach a swampy area, thick with mud and tangled roots. You step carefully, wary of unstable footing and hidden dangers. A chorus of croaking amphibians echoes through the marsh, ancient ancestors of modern frogs and salamanders. Their presence is a reminder that life here is layered, from the smallest insect to the largest dinosaur. As you navigate the swamp, you spot a nest partially hidden among the reeds. Eggs, large and pale, rest nestled in the mud. You remember the stories, How some dinosaurs protected their young with fierce determination, while others left them vulnerable to the elements and predators alike. The sun begins to dip, painting the sky with hues of orange and purple. Night approaches again, and with it, new challenges. The forest will grow darker, colder, more unpredictable. Creatures of the night will emerge, and the jungle's song will shift to a haunting melody. You find a sturdy tree with low-hanging branches and climb carefully, seeking a place to rest away from the dangers below. Settling into the crook of the trunk, you try to calm your racing mind, listening to the sounds of the jungle as they change with the fading light. This world is ancient, wild, and unyielding. And though you survived another day, you know the test is far from over. Nightfall in the Jurassic isn't silent. The forest comes alive with a different rhythm, a subtle but constant pulse of life adapting to darkness. Creatures that hid during the day now move with quiet confidence, guided by senses honed for low light and shadow. The air cools slightly, but the humidity lingers, wrapping around you like a thick cloak. From your perch in the tree, you watch shadows shift below, small mammals scurrying for shelter, insects glowing faintly as they flicker through the air, and distant eyes reflecting moonlight. The stars themselves seem dimmed by the thick canopy above, though somewhere far away, faint glimmers pierce the darkness. A soft rustling draws your attention to a nearby branch, where a small, feathered dinosaur clings to the bark. Its body is covered in downy feathers, its eyes sharp and alert. This is an early bird relative, a glimpse into the future. It watches you with curious intelligence, head tilting slightly before launching silently into the night. Your mind drifts back to the day's events, the constant tension of moving through a world that doesn't want you. The sun's warmth had brought beauty and danger in equal measure, towering sauropods grazing, swift herbivores darting through underbrush, and predators stalking in the shadows. Yet none of it compares to the reality of the night. Below, the low growl of a distant predator echoes, a reminder that safety is an illusion. You wrap your arms around your knees, muscles trembling from fatigue and fear. Sleep teases you, a distant shore you can barely reach. But the forest pulse keeps you awake, alert. Suddenly, a flash of movement catches your eye, a pair of eyes, glowing faintly from the darkness. They belong to a Coelophysis, one of the earliest known dinosaurs, slender and swift. It pauses briefly, nostrils flaring, before disappearing into the black. You close your eyes for a moment, focusing on steady breaths. The past and present blur. You wonder how long you can keep this up, surviving in a time so unlike your own. Every second feels stretched, charged with the weight of ancient life. Somewhere far below, a distant volcano rumbles softly, a reminder that this land is young and alive beneath the surface. The air smells faintly of ash and earth, mixing with the scent of damp leaves and growing things. You allow yourself to drift, not fully asleep, but not fully awake either. The forest hums its timeless song, and for a fleeting moment, you feel part of it, a whisper in a story millions of years in the making. The fragile thread between wakefulness and sleep stretches thin as dawn's first light creeps through the canopy. Colors return to the forest with a quiet majesty, the soft greens of moss and fern, the deep browns of bark, and the flickering gold where the sun's rays meet the earth. The sounds shift once more. Nocturnal creatures retreat, and daytime life begins its chorus anew. You descend from your tree, muscles stiff but grateful for movement. The air is already thick with humidity, carrying the sharp scent of damp earth and fresh foliage. Every step feels cautious, each sound amplified in your ears. The world around you is both familiar and alien, ancient in ways your mind struggles to grasp, yet vividly alive. As you push through a tangle of vines and branches, you spot fresh footprints pressed into the soft soil. Not yours, but those of a herd of Brachiosaurus, small, nimble herbivores known for their agility and speed. They seem to have passed recently, their tracks leading toward a nearby clearing. Curiosity propels you forward. Maybe following them could lead to water or safer ground. But with every step, the risk grows. Predators hunt by reading these signs, trails, scents, even the disturbance of vegetation. You can't afford to leave traces like that behind. The clearing comes into view, sunlight washing over a field of tall ferns and cycads. In the distance, a shimmering lake glistens, its surface smooth and inviting. The promise of water pulls you onward despite the dangers. Suddenly, the distant call of a pteranodon cuts through the air, a reminder that life in this world isn't confined to the ground. The sky above is a theater of soaring reptiles, wings slicing through the humid air with silent grace. One glides past overhead, casting a fleeting shadow that chills you despite the warmth. Near the lake's edge, you spot something unexpected, a cluster of plants with bright, unusual leaves. Early relatives of flowering plants, their existence a sign that evolution was quietly moving toward the world you know now. You reach out, touching the soft leaves, feeling a connection across millions of years. But peace is fleeting. A sudden splash breaks the lake's surface, and you spin around, heart pounding. Emerging from the water is a Ceratosaurus, a fish-eating dinosaur with a long, narrow snout and sharp claws designed to catch slippery prey. It moves with surprising speed for its size, nostrils flaring as it searches for food. You retreat slowly, careful not to draw attention. The lake is not safe, but it is necessary. You drink cautiously from the shore, the cool water soothing your parched throat and calming your racing thoughts. As the sun climbs higher, the forest seems to pulse with energy, life, danger, beauty, and mystery intertwined. You realize that surviving here isn't just about strength. It's about understanding the rhythm of this ancient world, its patterns, and its secrets. But time is running out. Night will fall again, and with it, new challenges and unknowns. For now, you stand on the edge of survival, caught between two worlds, one that has passed into history, and one that still calls you home. The day wears on, and with each passing hour, the jungle seems to grow more alive, not just in movement, but in sound and scent. The chorus of insects buzzes louder, leaves rustle with hidden creatures, and distant calls echo through the thick air. Every sense is stretched to its limit, your body attuned to every vibration and whisper. You tread carefully through thick undergrowth, careful to avoid patches of spiky ferns and sharp-edged cycads. The ground beneath your feet is soft in places, churned by the passage of massive feet. You catch glimpses of enormous footprints, likely from the colossal sauropods that roam this land. Their slow, deliberate steps have left marks in the earth that feel like echoes from another world. Ahead, a group of Stegosaurus grazes in a sun-dappled clearing. Their plated backs shimmer faintly, the bony plates arranged in a staggered line that runs from neck to tail. They move slowly, almost oblivious to your presence, their spiked tails swinging as a natural defense against predators. These gentle giants are living reminders that even in a world ruled by ferocity, peace can still be found. Your throat is dry, but your mind sharpens as you watch. You think about the adaptations these creatures have evolved: armor, speed, height, all tools honed by millions of years of survival. You, in contrast, are fragile and exposed, without any natural defenses or weapons. Your best hope lies in caution and observation. Suddenly, the sky darkens slightly as a shadow passes overhead. You look up to see a flock of pterosaurs gliding above the trees, their leathery wings stretching wide against the sky. Their silent flight is a stark contrast to the heavy footsteps below, a reminder that this world is layered, with dangers and wonders both high above and deep within the forest. The temperature begins to drop as the sun sinks lower, painting the jungle in hues of orange and purple. The cooling air carries the scent of damp earth and growing things. mixing with the faint hint of smoke from distant volcanic activity. You realize that this world is alive in every sense. The ground beneath you, the air around you, and the creatures that inhabit it. Night will come soon again, bringing its own challenges and tests. But for now, you savor the quiet moments between day and night, a brief respite in a world that demands constant vigilance. As you find a small clearing surrounded by thick foliage, you decide to rest. You settle on the ground, feeling the soft earth beneath you and the gentle rustle of leaves above. The forest hums softly, a lullaby from a time long before your own. And in that moment, you understand something vital. Surviving here isn't about conquering this ancient world. It's about respecting it, listening to its rhythms, and finding your place, however fleeting, within its endless story. Dusk deepens into night, the sky a canvas of faint stars filtered through thick leaves. Darkness here isn't empty. It's alive with sounds, distant calls rustling, the soft flutter of wings. The forest breathes around you, a world both alien and ancient, where every moment balances between calm and chaos. You press closer into the undergrowth, seeking cover as the temperature drops and shadows grow long. Fireflies, larger and brighter than any you've seen, pulse with gentle light, casting eerie glows on nearby plants. Their dance is hypnotic, almost soothing, yet a reminder that even beauty here serves survival. A sudden rustle to your side makes you freeze. A pair of glowing eyes peer through the darkness, small and curious. A mammal-like creature, no bigger than a rabbit, with soft fur and quick movements. It watches briefly, then darts away into the night. These tiny survivors of a harsh world embody resilience, their quiet presence a counterpoint to the giants roaming above. Your muscles ache, but rest is fleeting. Night in the Jurassic brings new dangers, predators adapted to hunt under the cover of darkness, and a landscape that shifts with every sound and shadow. You remind yourself, your senses must stay sharp. Every breath, every heartbeat matters. Far off, a low, rolling growl vibrates through the trees, the unmistakable call of a nocturnal hunter. Your mind races through what you've learned. This time holds creatures both magnificent and merciless, and while some chase prey, others lurk silently, waiting for the perfect moment. The forest canopy above shivers as a sudden breeze sweeps through, carrying the scent of rain. The air grows heavier with moisture, and distant thunder rumbles softly. The impending storm will bring relief and risk both. A shower could wash away your scent but also flood low areas and stir restless creatures. You nestle deeper into your spot, focusing on steady breaths, tuning into the forest's rhythm. The past and present blur as the timeless cycle of life and survival plays out around you. In this endless night, you are both intruder and witness, fragile and determined. The jungle song lulls you towards sleep, a slow, steady melody older than time. And as your eyes close, the ancient world carries on, indifferent and eternal. The first light of dawn begins to filter through the dense canopy, painting the forest in muted shades of pink and gold. The night's chorus fades, replaced by the slow stirring of a new day in this ancient world. Birds and small dinosaurs awaken, their calls weaving into the morning air like a gentle, timeless song. You open your eyes, muscles stiff, mind heavy but alive. Surviving the night was no small feat. You have learned that this world is not built for you. Every leaf, every shadow, every sound holds a story of survival written in scales, feathers, and instinct. You realize now how ill-equipped you are. No natural armor, no sharp claws, no instincts honed for evasion or hunting. Just fragile human senses in a land dominated by giants. As you rise, the forest around you begins to pulse with renewed energy. Towering Brachiosaurus stretch their necks toward the sun, stripping leaves from treetops far above. Nearby, a herd of Hadrosaurus grazes quietly, their keen eyes constantly scanning for danger. The rhythm of life continues, ancient, relentless, and beautiful. You move cautiously, knowing the day will bring new challenges. The scorching sun will dry the land, forcing creatures to seek water and shade. Predators will become bolder, hungry after a long night. You are an outsider in this primeval ballet, vulnerable yet determined. Your thoughts turn inward. How brief a visitor you are here, caught in a moment of Earth's vast history. The age of dinosaurs was a chapter of unimaginable scale, a time when the planet itself seemed alive, wild, and untamed. You, a fragile thread in this tapestry, have glimpsed what it truly meant to exist then. This experience, though terrifying and humbling, reveals a truth. Survival is more than strength. It is respect for the forces around you, awareness of your place in the world, and the courage to keep moving forward, even when the odds are stacked against you. As you step through the underbrush, the forest hums with life. You carry with you a story older than humanity, a story written in stone, bone, and time. The dinosaurs are gone now, their reign ended by forces beyond any creature's control. Yet their legacy endures, whispered in the rustling leaves and the quiet earth beneath your feet. You would not last a day in their world, but by walking through it, even briefly, you have touched something eternal, a reminder of the fragility and resilience that define all life. And with that thought, you move forward into the dawn, the ancient forest awakening around you, endless and alive.